Hey everyone, greetings from Ishigaki. I am currently in an outdoor exhibition and they have all of these statues here. There's a little mushroom and they have all of these statues here. And I think a lot of these figurines and statues are inspired by Buddhism and Hinduism and the mythology of the island. I'd have to read up on it more. They don't really have a plaque or anything here, but look how beautiful that looks. The weather right now is lovely. It's not too hot, not too humid, and the clouds are helping, right? Because there's a breeze right now, and it's just a beautiful day to be alive. I love this island. I'm an island girl by heart, and I love this kind of weather. I love just being in sandals and wearing a sundress and going to the beach for sunset or sunrise, and you know, I missed it a lot. I love the main island of Japan, but it was a little bit chilly and I just missed the warmth. There aren't many mosquitoes right now, which is nice, really, really nice. And I think it's because it hasn't rained in the last 2 or 3 days, so it's not that humid, so to speak. Look at that. Look at how pretty that looks. This morning, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, as they say. I've been feeling a little bit ill these last 3 or 4 days, and it's not a cold or flu. I think it's just hay fever or some kind of allergy that I caught in on the main island because it's spring and there must be an allergen going around. A lot of people were sniffling and coughing and stuff, but this morning I woke up with a cough and with a runny nose, and I didn't feel so well, and then there was an incident that happened that really put me off, and I was like, oh my God. And it was really windy in the morning and cloudy. You couldn't see the sky at all, but now you can. It's still cloudy, but you know, partly cloudy. Anyway, I'm gonna sit here by the mushroom. I wanted to talk about being caught in the riptide of life. I like to think that I'm the kind of person that when I'm caught in a rip, I am able to have a level head and just go with it and not push through necessarily, but just go with the flow. If you've ever been caught in a riptide, you'll know that swimming against the current is futile, right? Our natural instinct is to swim to shore when we're being pulled into the ocean, right? But of course, that's only going to exhaust you, and that's only going to tire you out. And 99% of the times people drown in a riptide because they tire themselves out and then they drown, right? And so you have 2 options when you're caught in a rip. You can either swim parallel to the current, right? And sometimes that works and sometimes that does not work because riptides are complicated and sometimes they're going different directions, and swimming parallel isn't the most viable option. But what I've found in my own life, in my own experience, I can say, is you just have to wait for the riptide to spit you out and just be there, right? And eventually you'll be able to, once the riptide spits you out, you'll be able to swim back to shore. Because they don't go on forever. You're not going to end up on the other side of the Pacific Ocean if you're ever caught in a rip. You're not going to end up in, Japan or California. If you're in the ocean in California, it's not going to take you all the way to Japan, right? They're pretty short in distance, right? But they do take you out deep into the ocean, right? And it can be scary. And like I said, 99% of the time people drown because they freak out or they tire themselves out, and then they die. In life, we are usually confronted with situations where we are trying to push against the current, and that situation is futile. There are situations in life when, you are in the midst of chaos and you just have to hunker down and plow through. But there are other situations in life where you're caught in a rip and you just have to wait it out and let the riptide spit you out so you can swim back to shore. So it's important to know what life is trying to teach you. And that's sometimes hard when you're in the midst of chaos, right? When you're in the midst of the riptide of life, you don't know if first of all, when you're in a riptide, 99% of the time you don't know you're in the riptide until it's too late, right? And then you start trying to swim to shore, but that's futile. It's complicated, isn't it? Sometimes you have to hunker down and plow through, and sometimes you just gotta wait for the riptide to spit you out. Or you swim parallel. What's important is to always have a positive mindset and know that you will get out of the situation that you're in. I think there are times in our lives when we're caught in a rip or we're caught in a hairy situation and we start to dwell and bitch and stew and complain. But of course that doesn't help. That makes things worse. That's going against the current, right? But when you're caught in a rip, all you can do is do what you can. You're either going to swim parallel or you're going to wait for the riptide to spit you out, right? And life humbles you in that way. Life is a great teacher, and we are students here to be humbled, to be taught that we don't know everything and we're menial and insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but we're also important and worthy. There are these paradoxes, right? And I think the reason why life humbles us is so that we don't become full of ourselves. It's really hard to make this video because I have all these thoughts in my head, but they're all muddled in my brain and I don't really know how to put it in language. I hope you get what I mean though. Sometimes you really have to hunker down and plow through and just keep going, but sometimes you just gotta allow the swell to take you, right? And it's important to know the difference, and it's important to assess the situation that you're in, but always have a positive mindset and always know that you're gonna get through whatever situation you find yourself in, and that life, God, the universe, whatever you believe in, will never abandon you, and you will never be forsaken. And having that trust and belief and faith may be challenging at times. I spoke about this yesterday, but faith doesn't happen because you know things. Faith happens because you don't know, but you still choose to believe that you're going to be okay. So, I hope you have a great day, and I wish you all the best. Peace and love. Bye. From Ishigaki Island.